What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It's the Earth Master here on this Sunday night, November 20th, 2022. It's about 9:21 here along the West Coast, PM time. Latest quake shows a 2.1 on the big island of Hawaii. Looking here at a closer look, looks like we did see some deeper movement quakes there into the big island area. Let's go ahead and check out that movement here. Right off the bat first, a lot of activity actually ramping up here around our watch zones as well. Remember the Izu Mariana Trench region showing some activity. Okay, let's see what we got here across the area. Latest quake, a 2.1 outside of Mauna Loa. Very shallow earthquake, but prior to that here, about an hour or so ago, we've seen a pretty deep earthquake off the coast of the Pahala area, 3.6 coming in at 29 kilometers deep. Somewhat of a deeper earthquake there for that area. Specifically around the Mauna Loa area, about 10 earthquakes here over the last 24 hours or so, and including that one here at 2.1. Very shallow earthquake up here off the northwestern area of Mauna Loa. So still kind of watching that. There's been no major changes, no major adjustment as far as volcanic activity goes there in that region, but still kind of watching it. Okay. A little train of earthquakes here across the region today. Notice that. Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, Japan Trench, Izu Trench. Our latest earthquake here, 5.2 at 400. Holy smokes. 416 kilometers deep. That is a deep one for this area. And the surface regions up here have been relatively quiet across the Izu Trench and Mariana Trench. This is about the only area that really hasn't been hit by sufficient earthquake activity here over the last week or so. We did see a little bit of movement around the Mariana Trench, 4.5, 4.8 at the beginning of the week. But overall, general seismic activity on the uptick across the Western Pacific. And this area right here, very quiet. This is one of the areas that really hasn't been hit. So we got to watch this area pretty closely, considering the northwestward plate movement here of the Pacific Plate, only putting further strain up here along this region. But of course, our very quiet area up here, the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, is just under the very quiet zone for now. But eventually, that won't be the case. All right, let's see these other earthquakes up here, kicking off throughout the afternoon time frame, early morning time frame as well. So watch this zone pretty closely. Further down south into the Indonesia area, looking at some activity across the Papua New Guinea region. We did see a 5.1 Indonesia, and also that 5.0 over around the Papua New Guinea area. That earthquake, though, coming in late last night and literally about ready to drop off the 24-hour threshold map here. Getting a swarm of activity into the Fiji Islands, Tonga Trench area once again. Some deeper movement quakes, 548 kilometers for at least one of them. The latest earthquake, a 4.3 up here, 484 kilometers deep. So massive movement kicking up here once again at the deeper levels. In that respect, definitely need to watch the New Zealand area for some subsequent shallower earthquake movement. This has been the spot for to watch here, because we've seen a bunch. Let's bring up the getting a little excited here. We got to bring up the last 30 days, 4.0, 4.5 and above. Okay, you guys remember about a week or so, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we've seen a massive amount of movement deep into the Fiji area, the Tonga Trench region. Subsequent shallower earthquake activity up here around the Tonga Trench, and minimal, just minimal at best, following all of that activity. We did see a 5.1 Kermadec Islands and some other fours along the Kermadec Trench, with some deeper movements here across the North Island and the South Island area of New Zealand, with very minimal adjustment upstream meaning the plate boundary here across the area. So this is a zone to watch pretty closely, considering we're seeing some further deeper activity over the last 24 hours in this region. There's two areas. Got to remember that. Oh, probably three areas to watch right now. The Mariana Trench, Kurokamachaca Trench. I've been saying that ever since the beginning of this year. It's been building up some strain with not a whole lot of rupture upstream. And the Kermadec Trench, roughly south here around the New Zealand area. This area is primed for some movement. Got to watch that area pretty closely. Into Alaska, still some activity kicking up here around the Trident Volcano. Looks like the latest earthquake activity occurring just to the west there of the Trident Volcano, about 5 o'clock or so my time here along the west coast. Nothing within the last hour in that area. Up towards the Alaska Range, Denali area, all showing some microquake activity up there, shooting up towards the Fairbanks region over the last hour or so. Into the Pacific Northwest, got some activity along the Cascades. Mount St. Helens showing a little bit of seismic activity here today, right at the crater, right at the summit area. Looks like some very small microquakes there, but overall, looks like a little bit of increase. Let's go ahead and check out the tremor map here tonight, and we'll check out Mount St. Helens here ASAP. A little bit of movement around the Vancouver Island ranges up north, and also down into southern Oregon. This tells a story of some tremor down dip here, about 45 kilometers into the Cascadia subduction zone. And not a big deal, not a big event. 39 epicenters is very minor. I do want to check out the Mount St. Helens activity here since we're on it right now, and see what is cooking up here across the area. There's some of those quakes showing up. So we're going to check out this seismograph station. It is a 3-component broadband station. We'll go over those differences in seismograph stations there one night. A different night here. I'm kind of burned out on schoolwork and whatnot. Had quite a few essays and a whole bunch of stuff going on here. But yeah, there's a couple earthquakes here over the last couple hours or so. Seeing that movement. Also some very small, looks like a little bit smaller ones there. Over the last UTC date, there's another well-defined earthquake there and a couple other smaller ones over the last 24 hours listed there at the Mount St. Helens region. No major movement, but as noted here, just a couple small earthquakes within the region of Mount St. Helens. Oregon, looks like you're in the clear for now. Seeing some activity off on the Blanco fracture zone and also the Gorda Ridges. And that's definitely a telltale sign of some increasing pressure out here. Right up against the subduction zone here, the Cascadia subduction zone. This earthquake activity here, 2.0 and a 2.7 coming in just earlier this afternoon time frame. Northern California, absolutely quiet until you get down to the Clear Lake volcanic fields, and that area is just very typical of movement. The rest of the state here, I'm not seeing any unusual activity. We got one earthquake here within the last hour near the Yucca Valley, the San Bernardino Mountains. Major plate boundary zone up here against the San Andreas Fault. Right now, it sleeps. But one day, it won't be. It will definitely be woken up here with at least possibly an 8.1 earthquake here along the San Andreas Fault. When that happens, no one knows. But we can look for swarms. We can look at little signs, look at GPS measurements, and maybe say, hey, something's odd here. Something's off. But for right now, everything looks calm along the southern end of the state. We did see a 3.0 near the Rachel, Nevada area at 10 kilometers deep, northeast of the Warm Springs area. Nevada is riddled with some fault systems out here, major fault systems across the region. And we did see that earthquake strike up here earlier this afternoon time frame. Texas and Oklahoma, we got one earthquake out here, 2.0 near the Medford, Oklahoma region, just south of the Kansas-Oklahoma border, in the Waukita Trend gas fields. I can guarantee you what's out here. I mean, you don't have to tell. I don't have to tell you guys, but definitely, I'm sure quite a few oil pumping operations out here, and they got to. they got to do something with all that wastewater. There's a little process that goes on out here in these fields. It looks as though some of this activity is possibly related to some old fields that have been kind of eroded or erased away from the map here. There is some localized pumping operations out here in the vicinity, but it's not super close to the 2.0 that just kicked up here into the Medford, Oklahoma area. But just note here, it is out here in the region of some oil fields. All right, backing out of here, let's see what else we got. Eastern portion of the country, quiet. Puerto Rico Trench, it looks about the same. One earthquake up here off the coast of Mexico along the Pacific and the Cocos Plate boundary here. Cocos Plate and the Nazca Plate down south into a fracture zone. Looks like a 4.8. Well off the coast of Mexico, 10 kilometers deep. Divergent boundary out here. Riviera fracture zone looks like, at least in one of the portions out there in the Pacific Plate. A whole lot going on below us right now, folks. Let me tell you, definitely seeing a lot of stuff happening well below our feet. And just got to go with the flow. Let's see what else we got. We did see that earthquake strike outside of Crete, Greece. Off the coast, 5.5 originally came in as a 6.0. Now, when I did the update earlier, it was mentioned as a 6.0, but at the time, seismologists had not reviewed the earthquake. And a lot of times, they get downgraded, they get upgraded, and that's just the nature of these preliminary earthquake data reporting systems. So, there was a downgrade from a 6.0 to a 5.5. So, sometimes it gets downgraded, sometimes it gets upgraded. Azores Island out here, out into the Atlantic Ocean. Divergent boundary system out here, 4.8. Coming in earlier this evening time frame. A little bit of movement out there in the Atlantic Ocean. Yoso National Park still is not showing any, well, at least as far as that seismograph station goes. As far as the overview, we're not really seeing anything. Let me go over here to the University of Utah and see what we have for earthquakes being reported at Yellowstone. Page's not working. Now it is. Magic. Let's see what we got for data up here across the area. About the same as earlier, folks. No major movement, no major seismic activity at Yellowstone. But our typical station here that we use, it's called isthisthingon.org. Yellowstone seismogram thumbnails is non-operational, so I'm not for sure what's going on with their server, but they are offline, and not for sure when they are coming back. It's a station, or at least a site I use pretty often, and no doubt I have helped those folks out in the past as far as their requested donations, because I do use that site quite often. All right, let's see what else we got. Solarham site. Well, what happened to our G1 storm, folks? Kind of wimpy. Well, I actually kind of called it here a couple nights back before they even put out the G1 storming forecast there. I said it was probably going to miss us because of its location here. And I'm talking about the coronal hole 46 that had been in view here. Spewing out quite a bit of high-speed solar wind stream. A lot of charged particles here from this area of the sun, but its direction here, position on the sun, facing to the south of us on the Earth plane area. So I don't think we're going to reach the G1 storming conditions. We did see a little bit of peaking conditions here around the KP index of about almost 4. Didn't quite happen, and I don't think it is going to happen. Things are looking pretty minimal right now as far as the activity goes. There is just a barely glancing blow on the speed and the density, and not a whole lot. I don't think we're going to see any major storming from this barely glancing blow from the coronal hole. that was expected to kick up a G1 storm. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen, folks. So, unfortunately for the folks there looking for the auroras, I don't believe they're going to happen. The latest imagery here of the sunspots, I think we need to keep a close eye up here on this one. We're getting quite a bit of instability here on the magnetic structure of these fields. A lot of mixing here of different polarities, and that could spell a little bit of trouble in the X-ray or the solar flare department here. Right now, these things, they looks like they've kind of mellowed them out a little bit here. 65% chance for a C flare, 15% chance for an M flare, 1% chance for an X flare. But looking at this structure, things are looking more complex, even more so than what they did this morning. So we'll watch that region, 3149, for a potential M flare. Things have been elevated a little bit. We did see a C flare kick up within the last hour or so. So just be on guard. We'll see if that sunspot wants to do anything spectacular. All right, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. Again, those couple areas to watch. Deeper movement quakes tend to apply further stress and strain at our subduction zones, and that includes areas around North Island, New Zealand, the Mariana Trench, and the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. All quiet. That seismic gap, so to speak. They're missing earthquakes. They're missing, they're just missing some larger activity compared to other regions. So that's just kind of a telltale sign of some stress building up in those 3 specific zones. For now, folks, have a good night. 36 degrees out here right now, Northern California. Kind of expecting, I think about 33 or 34 degrees tonight here in the Sacramento Valley. No rain. At all. In fact, our chances of rain coming up next weekend, it was looking pretty good. Well, it got squashed, and that it's a little disappointing. A little bit of weather depression sitting in on me tonight because I am a fan of weather. I'm not a fair weather guy. I like storms. I like rain. I like precipitation. I like wind. I like snow. I don't like to go outside and see it sunny and blue skies all the time. It's sickening. I know it sounds odd. It really sounds odd because a lot of people are like, "Wow, what's wrong with that guy? Who doesn't like blue skies and sunshine all the time?" Well, I'm just not that guy. I don't like that, and I have to be frank about it because I don't like it. I like rain. I like storms. I like to see weather. I like pressure differences. That's what makes my world go round, is rain, thunderstorms, something. The sun's beautiful sometimes, but not all the time. Good Lord. So, yeah. I'm hoping something changes here with the weather here in California, or else we are going to be majorly into some big trouble in our water year here along the west coast of California. We're already at an extreme drought. And goodness, I can only imagine what's going to happen next year. I'm sitting out here on a well. I'm not associated with any city water or any city sewer or anything like that. I don't live in the city. So I have my own well out here, and I'm kind of worried about it. Definitely kind of worried about it. I don't want to see my well dry up. So I've been kind of conserving water a little bit, but you got to keep plants and trees alive. I lost most of my walnut trees here on the property this year because of 115 degrees and no water last winter, no rainfall last winter. So it's a very dire, very scary situation here along the west coast. We need some major rainfall. So if anyone knows how to do a rain dance out here, I'm willing to do it live. Tell me how. I don't know. I might get out there on the live stream and do a little rain dance out here just to get some weather going on here along the west coast. It's not good. All right, guys, I'm gonna quit my complaining, but gosh darn it, we need rain. Have a good night, folks. We'll catch you guys a little bit later on. Peace out.